Boom. 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 Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Booth. I am your host, Dan Solo. I'm Don Solo. Dan Solo. Solo. I am alone. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming and joining the show. Obviously, there's not too much going on tonight. We got some music. Gonna just turn it down just a little bit more. It's gonna be there, but it's just not gonna be really loud. Hello. What's up, Lovett? You can't wait to see some props, huh? Well, we got some props even behind me. There's some props. I mean, that's what I do sometimes. So yeah, tonight I'm gonna talk about props and movies. And I hear a helicopter outside. What fun! If you can hear it, let me know. If you can't, hey, it's all good. So what's our favorite movies? What makes props and what makes movies? What made the movies for you? For me, it was props, costumes, sets. It's everything really that makes a movie. And the storyline. You have to have a good storyline. If you don't have a good storyline, then there's really no reason to have, because you can have cool props and a cool set and a cool costumes, but if you don't have a good storyline, something that engages you to follow, it's not the best. It's just not the best. It helps sell the story. That's right, it does help sell the story. Especially the props do help, but you got to have the right story to follow through. Like my Captain Hook costume kind of is hanging behind me a little bit, and that's a full costume. Got my hat, got the hook right there. That would be considered a prop. You got to make it look the part. You got Judge Dredd right back here too. Judge Dredd gun. Which is called the Lawgiver. And I'm always tinkering around and making stuff, making new things, or adding to some of my old stuff. One of the best, I think, movies of all time with great, wonderful props would be, my opinion, Ghostbusters. I mean, you got a PKE meter, you got these two here, the Gaga meter, the PKE meter, you got the proton packs, and they're set in New York City. Yeah, that's right. Who you gonna call? Gonna call you Dan Hook. Yes, you can call me Dan Hook. But Ghostbusters, the set and where they are is in New York City. And what sells Ghostbusters is the props, the equipment that they have. And it makes you believe that, hey, these things can detect ghosts and catch ghosts and blast ghosts. And it's kind of like, it's what makes the movie cool. That's what makes me like Ghostbusters anyways. Ghostbusters to me is really cool. I like it. I enjoy it. Now, one of my favorite things and the costumes are very simple. The firehouse. Yeah, the firehouse is a cool idea for a superhero cave. That's right. Because the Ghostbusters are basically superheroes. Kind of like a fireman. They got the regular coveralls or flight suit. They call it, it's a flight suit, but it's like a coverall. How you get the pest control people out. They wear these coveralls. because they have to crawl in the junk and the dirt and the garbage and the poop and whatever it is that they have to do. So basically, Ghostbusters are like pest control, but ghost control. Blue collared is what they wanted it to be, like a blue collared thing, and it's fun because you got these proton packs that shoot these laser streams that come out. I think that's why I enjoy it mostly. So the effects help the props. The props help the effects, And what's fun about the whole Ghostbuster thing is that as a person who likes Ghostbusters, I enjoy tinkering with making these props or modifying the props. Like right behind me, I got some. I don't know if you can't see it. I came the wrong way. You still can't see it. Well, I'll grab it. So this is a modified prop. For this one was bought from Spirit Halloween. It's a Spirit Halloween proton pack, but I modified it. I added to it. I made it my own. Now I do have my own proton packs that I've built myself, and made my own, and same with everything else. But what's fun about it is making it your own, basically. And what's cool about, hey Phil, what's up? How you doing, Phil? Scattered Night is here. The props are scientific based. Yes, they're scientific based, which makes it fun. Ghostbusters is a bunch of scientists, and that's what makes it fun. For me, anyways, for Ghostbusters. So that's one of my more favorite movies. That's one of my go-tos, I guess you could say. But it's not the only one that is fun, that is cool, that makes, because not only do these movies make props and stuff like that, but they also make toys. They also make these prop toys or regular toys for us big people, or maybe well, thank you, Lovett. That is a nice pack, huh? But it's for me as a big person, who wanted all these things as toys as a child, but now can make these things or buy these things. Some things you can't buy. You have to be creative and make them. And what's cool about today's society is now we have these things called 3D printers. 3D printers. Oh, 3D printers is a game changer for almost everybody. Let me show you real quick. Now this is not 3D printed. You're not a big person, Dan. Just had a six-pack. Yeah, my six-pack turned into a keg. It's better anyways, right? I've never had a six-pack. But hi, Uncle Mike. How you doing, Uncle Mike? What's up? So I want to show you my. I'm gonna. I don't like. I didn't build my floor level. I'm stupid. I'm gonna show you my hook. So this is a Captain Hook's hook, right? This is not 3D printed. This is a creativity that I had, and I made it. You sometimes with props, you got to be creative. You got to take things. You just got to make them yourself, make them your own. But definitely, you can print that as a 3D print, and I've seen it happen, and I've seen people have that, but not everybody has a 3D printer, and not everybody can, come buy a 3D printer or have friends like I do that have 3D printers, like this beautiful helmet here from the movie Judge Dredd, another favorite of mine. Um, just because the costumes, the props, that's what makes a movie, I think, in my opinion. Um, but Judge Dredd, this helmet here was 3D printed from a friend and sent to me, and that's what's fun about 3D printing. Now, my wife and I bought our kids one like a 3D printer, but it's not like one of those major 3D printers. It's almost like a toy one, right? Um, yes, it was a great film. Judge Dredd was a great film. Um, and Dredd was a great film too. You got the Stallone version and the who's the other guy's name? I can't even think of his name. Let me just type it in. It's the 2012 movie. But the Stallone version is really cool too. Carl Urban. So you got Urban, the Urban Dredd and the Stallone Dredd. Which is better? I don't think there's one better than the other. It's just they're fun movies. You got the costumes, you got all this stuff. And the Dredd movies came from a comic book. Ghostbusters turned into a comic book after the movie. The Ghostbusters actually turned into a lot of things after the movie. You have the cartoon, you got the comic books, you got the crossovers with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got all these cool things that happen after something awesome happens, like a great movie. Or if you have a great comic book, you can make a great movie from it, like the Dredd movies. I would like to see another Judge Dredd movie. I don't think it would be a perfect, I don't think the movies in a whole, they're not perfect, but they're good. But there are material out there. Pass me with the Ghostbusters and TMNT Cross. Yes, that's it. And you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, the props on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are fun. You got Casey Jones. You got all his stuff. Uh, Jose Canseco bat. I hope you didn't pay money for that, but you got that. Yeah, it's yes, and I was just about to get there, Lovett. Another great prop is movies is Star Wars. Yes, I was gonna get there. Star Wars is another one. And why do we like Star Wars so much? I think a lot of Star Wars things is the lightsaber. Yes, it's the wars and the spaceships and stuff, but the lightsabers are a lot of fun, I mean, who doesn't like lightsabers? Who doesn't like space martial arts or whatever whatever it is, You fight each other, you smack each other. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I would like to see another Ninja Turtles movie. Yes, me too. I don't know what one Seth Rogen did, but they didn't feel much like a Ninja Turtles film. It was okay. It wasn't like like I said it before, it wasn't the best movie, but it wasn't the worst. I've seen worse movies. Duel of Fates, yes, Duel of Fates is good. I mean, that is great, You got lightsabers, most expensive lightsaber he bought was $150. It plays music, a few voices, changes between 7 different colors, yeah. That's and that's what's cool about movies is not only do we get to watch the movies, and not all these movies are like the best written movies or the best, the best stories. But I think a lot of it is because when you watch a movie, you leave reality basically, and you just kind of focus on something else, and you just kind of like you wish you were there or you wish you were part of it. And that's what makes props and costumes and movies so much fun, is because then you can, after the movie's done in your home, or if you see somebody that sells something, you can make it or you can buy it, have somebody make it for you. And it's just, movies are just, I don't know, they're a lot of fun, and being able to put on costumes or being able to make props, it kind of takes you out of reality and puts you into that movie mode, where you're like, I wish I was a part of that movie, or I wish I was in that movie, or I wish that thing in the movie was real, like ghost busting was real. That would be so cool. Or lightsabers were real. Um, the worst Ninja Turtles film, oh, that you've seen was that one, yeah. It's a bummer. Sounded like it would have been a cool crossover. Yeah, Turtles and Ghostbusters would be a cool crossover. Now they have comic books with it, and they got toys that do it. But you're right, they don't have like movies that cross over. And what's sad about not having movies crossover so much, is because of like copyright stuff. We have to have copyrights, Oh, Sony owns this, or um, Disney owns that, and you can't do crossovers because then, oh no. So that's another thing that stinks about the whole movie thing. But in our world that we live in today, with all this technology and all these people that are so creative, you can make a fan film, and make a fan film with the crossovers, or just it's just fun stuff. um just to make you want to be a part of that yes, the fictional universe is fun to want to be a part of. they don't they don't want to share the pie. You're right, they don't want to share that money pie, which is sad, and it go yeah. Okay, that's getting into something else, which I'll touch on. Greed is not a good thing, people. Greed is horrible, because if people get too greedy, because they just do, they just do. Even companies get too greedy, like, and I think that's basically the main reason for inflation, is because people are greedy. That's the main reason for inflation. And that's the main reason for people wanting to have a $20 an hour, um, minimum wage. I mean, it's I don't know. This world that we live in is kind of funny, isn't it? Oh, give us $20 an hour, or else. Well, then we're gonna raise the prices, or else. Like, can't we just live like like the olden days used to? You just kind of barter and trade. Hey, I'm gonna make this. How would you? I like what you have. Your talent's cool. Can I have some of that? Well, here's my talent. I make this, so I'll make this and give this to you, and you make me one of those, and you give it to me. You're bartering and trading. Don't know what happened to that, and I don't know what happened to kind people in the world. People are greedy and mean, and they're out for themselves, and not there to help one another. And that's what's sad in this world, is that you you pay your bills, and you don't have let's say you run out of money for some reason or another, and you have an electric bill or a gas bill that's skyrocketed $200 more than it usually is. And these people don't give you grace. They don't say, hey, you know what? We're making millions of dollars off of hundreds of people giving us, so we'll give you grace, and you don't have to pay that extra couple hundred. We'll just leave it at this price. I mean, it's not like it's breaking their bank, you know, and they don't want to help others. It just seems weird to me, the whole greed thing. Anyways, that has nothing to do with movies and prop making. And let me tell you, prop making, if you really get into it more than I do, it does get expensive. Especially if you want screen accurate stuff. Yes. By the way, let's get back to, oh, what is this? I forgot to do this, which is a great movie.
Stay on target.
Almost there.
Stay on target.
And I have to stay on target, or else I will talk about other things like yeah. Anyways, I will stay on target. But yeah, if you get into prop making or cosplay or costume making, it can get expensive. Like the materials you buy or the things. I mean, you can do it kind of cheaply, kind of like what I did here. This is basically just a couple of dollar store stuff here. This piece here is from the Dollar Tree. This piece here was half cut from a pretzel container, plastic pretzel container. The only thing that was a little pricey was the hook part, and the hook I got from Tractor Supply for, I think it was like $10, you know. And so there you go. And then you just kind of you make things up. So this piece here wasn't that expensive. Other things can be more expensive. Now, if you print it from a 3D printer, it would probably be a little bit more expensive because filament is like $25 for a roll. So you can, I mean, but it's still, you can do it kind of cheaply, making some things cheap. Because like, you know, yeah, you could probably do it pretty cheap. It depends on what you make, I guess, and what you do and how much you want to put into it. Because filament's $25. I'm sure this was maybe one filament roll, maybe a little less. I don't know, for the helmet. But like my lawgiver for the Dread movie, I'm not finished with, but I did paint it. All it is 3 guns made into one. 3 Nerf guns. And these guns were, one was a broken one that I found in the garbage. And the other one was, the other 2, one was like a squirt gun thing that my kids had for a while. And then, you know, didn't need it anymore, throwing it away. And then the other Nerf gun on that gun was from the Goodwill store. So, you know, there's ways to get around to making things cheap, but of course it requires your time. So, you know, some people say time is money. So it does take some time to do some things if you want to do it cheap. Or you can do it fast and just buy it, which means it's going to be expensive, you know? So it weighs out, I think. I think it all weighs itself out. Thank you, Lovett. It is clever. Things can be clever. I can use my brain sometimes. And another reason why I like doing these things, tinkering around, making props or modifying props, is because it does challenge my brain. Because I sit there and I go, well, this is how I want it to be. how can I get it there? You know what I mean? And then you see things around you. Oh, well, that's a little piece off of this could fit into there, or these two pieces together could fit together and make something. So it's about, I guess you could say, creativity, but also seeing things differently than what they really are. Like I said, the pretzel container was like a tall plastic container with the ridges on it. And I was like, maybe I could use that. So I saved it, instead of throwing it away in the garbage, which so sometimes I think to myself, I should throw things away. But then there's times where I'm like, but I could use it. I could make something out of it. So there's that. There's also a portion of, am I a hoarder? Or am I a garbage collector, or what's going on with myself? Uh but yeah, sometimes it's fun though, just to put things together and be like, oh, that's nice. Like on here on YouTube, I like to watch people make things. There's a bunch of friends even here on Inside the Booth that are Star Wars room makers or Star Wars creators, prop makers, and stuff like that. And they show you how they do it, and that kind of, I think that's not the only thing that it's being creative, right? But I was gonna say, it's not the only thing that got me into wanting to make stuff, but it did help push me into wanting to do some stuff. Was watching these people making their things, and it's like, man, if they can make it so kind of cheaply, and they have something, you know physical from something that you love, like a Star Wars helmet, or a Judge Dredd helmet, or a Ghostbusters proton pack, you know, then why can't I do something like that? And I think almost anybody could do something. They just have to start with nothing and put something together and go, oh, that looks cool. Now let's try something harder. Let's try something more complicated. And I've always kind of been that way, now that I think about it, because I've made little short films and stuff, and I would always make my own costumes and props and things like that. So yeah, I guess I kind of always was like that, but I never really made anything that was a part of a universe that has already been made. I would make my own stuff, you know. Um, well, I guess it's not really quite my own. I did like a little Easter movie of Jesus on the cross, and the Roman soldiers had to have Romans, they had to look like Roman soldiers. So I created those costumes and the armor and stuff like that. Um, so it's a lot of fun. It's fun to do these things. Um, I wish I could do it more. I wish I could get paid doing it, or or if I make something, be like, oh, maybe I could sell it, or so it can be like in somebody's background. I don't know. Um, but I don't know. For some reason, for me and myself, it's hard to sell something if it's not like a perfect replica of something else. Even though some people tell me, oh, it doesn't have to be. I would like to have that behind me, when I do my podcast, which would be okay. So I also have this. So another great movie besides, oh, I was going to mention Lord of the Rings. Yes, Lovett already did. Lord of the Rings is also a great movie. I mean, you could see back here, my sword is Aragon's sword. Well, the handle is. I don't think the blade itself is really. But the handle's more like an Aragon sword. And I like Lord of the Rings. I always thought I'd be a cool looking hobbit. I did my hair like a hobbit one time. I made myself a cloak. You know, but of course, I'm a little taller than a hobbit, so um, I'd be a cool Aragorn. I'd have to shave my face and just have the stubble, not a big beard, just stubble. Um, I wanted to be an elf. Typical. Yeah, that's true. The girls always wanted to be the elves. Um, but yeah, Legolas. He's cool. I like his bow, and I like how he looked in that movie. So it's yeah. I mean, you wanted to be an elf. I think I wanted to be an elf too. That would have been sweet. Um, so Dan is an elf. Elves are taller than hobbits. That's true. Elves are taller than hobbits. So I guess I could be an elf instead. Legolas. See, I should make myself a bow, get some arrows, and archery is fun to do. So why not make a bow, or buy a bow that looks like Legolas's bow in Lord of the Rings. So there's so much things you could do, so many things, so much fun. Um, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a mutant cat after I started to watch the Ninja Turtles. I mean, you could be a mutant cat. Um, just be like you'd be like a muscular cat though. Because that's how like if you look at all the toys, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys, they were all kind of muscular and had the same kind of body figure, just a different head. you know, so you would be like that. You'd be like the muscular thing and just like a cat head with your face on it. That'd be strange looking. We should try that, Phil. Go on Chat GBT and say, turn me into a muscular mutant cat with my face on it. I wonder if there's any mutant toes. Or is that just a Spy Kids thing? I think that's just a Spy Kids thing. I never got into Spy Kids. My kids kind of liked it a little bit when they were really young, but they don't like it anymore. Yeah, but and there's so many cool things in movies. Like I know I just talked about Ghostbusters. Oh yeah, Back to the Future. You remember the hoverboard? Back to the Future was a great movie. Um, and then you had one of my others, The Fifth Element. Wonderful movie. They had some cool. And it's like a lot of these props. If you see them in hand, you're like, oh, that's from that movie. Like this Gladiator. Gladiator was a great movie. Now, Gladiator 2 was not such a good movie. That was kind of. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what happened to that movie. Which I have a review on that, which I have to edit. But what about from Doctor? I think this guy's from Doctor Who, and it's like a robot thing, and that's why people like these movies, because they like the props or they like what's going on in it. So here's movies that we don't always think about, of props or anything. But look, what about Jumanji, the board game? I mean, if that board game wasn't there and they didn't, then it wouldn't be Jumanji. How about Wilson? That's a prop that everybody remembers. Wilson, who Wilson? Everybody remembers that. What about Spaceballs? The flamethrower. Everybody loves the flamethrower. I mean, I got one behind me, but it doesn't say Spaceballs. It says inside the booth. Inside the Booth Flamethrower, which is a lot of fun. So, there's many, many, many. Just saw Jumanji again. Such a fun film. It is a fun film, and it's got to be the original. The new ones are okay, but I don't like them as much as the original. You know, and the original, has the actors that you love and adore, and in the first Jumanji movie. I'm just waiting for The Rock to be in Star Wars and Ninja Turtles. He's in everything. Yeah, honestly, he could have been in Ninja Turtles. He could have been like, "Hey, yo, I'm the big muscular Casey Jones" or something. I don't know who he would be, but what would be cool is if they. Now I like Casey Jones in the first 1990s movie. Um, they did a good job with him. But what would be cool is, you remember the cartoon of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? In the cartoon, Casey Jones had kind of like a little mullet, and he sounded almost like Clint Eastwood. I think they should have, in the newer movies or in any other movie, they should have got somebody who was kind of more like a Clint Eastwood style, type of guy, and rugged, wants to beat everybody up. But the Michael Bay movies was some handsome young man going, "Ooh, I'm just a nice looking guy." I don't know, it was dumb. I didn't even like the Michael Bay movies. I know you don't like what's his name did with the new mutant turtle mutant movie. Oh my goodness, Seth Rogen. I know you don't like what he did, Phil, but Michael Bay didn't do such a good job either. They should have stuck with how they were in the 90s, 1990s style. John Cena. Yeah, or John Cena. John Cena's in almost everything too nowadays. I don't know. Do you think John Cena's a little bit a better actor than The Rock Johnson, or you think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a little bit better of an actor than John Cena? I don't know. I really don't know. Um, they have continued the 80s TMNT in comic books. Saturday morning cartoons. That one episode is where Casey gets superpowers. Right. Um, and that's true. You got your comic books. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have comic books, and they started with comic books. And that's cool about movies, comic books, things like that. And with like Captain Hook was a book before it was a movie. There's a movie that we're going to review that Lovett and I were supposed to be doing tonight, but we're going to review it on the 3rd of June. And I guess that was a book before it was a movie. So, which is really cool. So I think Hollywood can make good stuff if they just make good stuff. Like take from not I don't mean like take and make it happen. Like don't take it, but like use other stories and things that are already existed instead of making up your own stuff and making it junk. So Seth Rogen can have explosive diarrhea with his Mutant Mayhem film. I prefer Michael Bay movies over seeing the Rogen Turtles. I don't know. Fans are pretty fickle these days too. Yeah, you're right. They are. And and that's what Scarif, thanks for joining, by the way. And that's what that's why we go back to the props and the costumes, is because fans are fickle. with how movies are made these days. But if you go back to the prop or or the costume or the set that you loved in the one portion of that movie that you liked before they changed certain things, you know, and like I said in the beginning, Scarif is you know, if you have a good set and you have good props and you have good costumes and the storyline is not there, its storyline sucks, well then you're not gonna have a good movie. People are not gonna remember your props and your costumes. You have to have a good storyline, and the props and the costumes kind of help with the story. Like I talked about earlier about the Ghostbusters and how they used their proton packs um and Star Wars. Everybody loves Star Wars, but everybody loves certain parts of Star Wars nowadays because there's so much of it. I'm sure everybody loves the originals, no matter who you are. Some love the Disney stuff, some don't, so it happens. That's all I'm saying. It happens. Ivan Ortega reviewed the original Snow White by Disney, and he even said it still holds up. Yeah, of course. You're right. It still holds up. You want to know why? Because that was the brand new thing of that time. And what's wrong with having a little bit of a love story? Nothing. Nothing really. Um so yeah, you he is kicking it in karate. Yeah, that's it. You are Phil, you are kicking it in karate. Uh what are you up to now? um there's barely any good Star Wars under Disney. You're right. I mean, there's some. I think a lot of people were on board with the Mandalorian for at least the first to second season, and then they kind of like I said, it's the stories. It's the storytelling. It's the script. It's the you know next month they'll finally be black belt in Taekwondo. Nice. Congratulations, Phil. Almost black belt. Got to be careful with you now. Beat me up. Um, hello all. Hey, the woke breaker. What's up? What's up? Um, yeah. So that's. I think that's life in general with movies. Is that um, yeah? What was I saying? It's life in general with movies, and what makes a movie cool, I think, is not just the storyline, but what brings the props and the costumes into the story, because then you can look at a prop, you can look at a costume, and you go, oh, that's from that movie. Or you know you can connect it to something, a good movie. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a Doctor Who person. I don't really like the stuff. It's not my style of stuff, right? Some people love it, and they can, like I showed that one picture, they could take the picture of that robot and be like, "Oh yeah, that's Doctor Who. Doctor Who's the best." Blah blah. I look at that and I go, you know, I don't know what that is. It doesn't mean anything to me because I have no idea where it's from. I know where it's really from. I do know where it's from, but like I'm not connected to it because I'm not a fan of that type of film or show or film or whatever. I mean, could be some of this too. Look at these masks; they're from something. Um, and their props and their costumes and their masks from something. I don't know what that's from because I'm not interested in that portion of it. Uh, Doctor Who is a perfect example. Early Who was great stories, but sorry, I should put that up. Um, Early Who was great stories, but the sets and props are cheap. Yeah. And, and I was saying before, like my Captain Hook, um, one reason why I like to tinker around and make things is because, this is a Captain Hook in my version of it, right? It's not the perfect version, but it's made out of cheap stuff. And you can make props out of cheap things. I think the most expensive thing on this Captain Hook hand is the hook part. That's one of those hay hooks from Tractor Supply, But the rest of it's all plastic, cheap stuff that came from a store. This was a piece of plastic from, and I already said this once, and Lovett already heard it, but this is a piece of plastic from the Dollar Tree, and this plastic here is from a pretzel container. So it's fun to do, and it looks like a Captain Hook now that I put it all together, painted it. And what's fun about it is what the painting is what kind of brings it together, when you paint it, it brings it together. Like my lawgiver here, I already told Lovett, but it's like 3 guns made into one. And now it's my lawgiver. My version of the lawgiver, because it's not the exact replica or screen accurate or comic book accurate of a lawgiver, but it has some of the attributes. So you got the clip, you have this part of the nozzle, you have your scoping, digital scoping right here, So it's my version of it. And if you guys are not familiar with the lawgiver, that is Judge Dredd. I like the Judge Dredd movies. I like the that's right, Dan the Law. Thank you. I am the law, but tonight I'm Dan Solo. Play on words, obviously. But Judge Dredd, the Dredd comic books are fun. I haven't really read the comic books that much, but I got into it because of Sylvester Stallone in the 90s when he made the Judge Dredd movie, because I kind of liked Stallone as an actor. So yeah, like that stuff, and being able to have a prop in hand is really fun, and it's fun to make, fun to tinker around with, and that's what kind of makes a movie. Even if the movie's not a perfect movie, but you enjoyed some aspects of it, and then you make some props and you're like, oh, it'd be fun to see that again, or watch it again, or watch my favorite parts of that, Let's see here. You weren't born when Robbie the Ron Bot came out, Dan. No, you're right. I was not born then. Thank you for saying it looks good. Thank you. Yeah. Phil says, I'm not a Whovian at heart, but I admit up until the 12th Doctor, it was really enjoyable. Past that has been Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of Doctor Who. I've never really seen much of it, but I know the robots and I know certain things of it because I know people who talk about it, people who love it. So it's, and that's kind of like what makes it, that's the props, the costumes. And that's what it's about, props and costumes and more, and the sets. And even though some things are cheap, like way back in the old days, people made things cheaply. But people remember it, like Star Wars. The hilts were like just cheap things that they just screwed together and said, there you go. And what happened? People remember it. Now it's become a big thing. And now Star Wars is huge, and the props are expensive now. But you can make your own, and it's okay to make your own, Doctor Who can recapture the magic it used to have. Then I can see it lasting 100 years. Last year was 60. They could, but but I think, didn't Disney take over Doctor Who? It's funny how when bigger companies take over franchises or movies or shows, and they try to, I think the problem is they push wokeness into things. Hey, woke breaker, are you here? Um, Nothing is good under Disney, he says. But yeah, it's when these big companies have this like wokeness mindset, is what we call it. Is what so-called we called wokeness. But yeah, did a few years back. That's running new episodes on Disney Plus. Yeah, see, so Disney took over Doctor Who as well. That's wild for something to make it that long. It is. Um, but yeah, but like I said, when you take away the storytelling, when you take away the stories, and you can rehash stories, that's okay. Nobody cares if you rehash stories. But when you push a narrative that makes a story not good anymore, people don't like it. People want the old stuff back. And what's good about having it on film or having it on DVD or video is that you can go back to the old stuff and watch it again. You don't have to watch the new stuff. I mean, Disney kind of screwed up a little bit of the Star Wars things, but there's some Star Wars things that is good. It all depends on what you make and how you make it and what storyline it is. I do think the 13th Doctor, first female. Yeah, I don't know about I don't even know about the doctors there, Phil. So I'm not sure. You keep that one in the chat, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's all I'm going to talk about. I already talked about a couple of things. It's already 52 minutes into, and I didn't think I was going to talk this long. I actually didn't know what I was going to talk about. I just kind of made it up and started talking. So that's it for tonight. Make it up and start talking. I forgot to do a commercial break for those of you who are still watching. Don't forget to go to www. How many W's did I say? You know what I mean. The 3 W's insidetheboothtv.com/shop and get yourself some of this stuff.
What is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's right. It is beautiful, everybody. So go ahead and get some merchandise. Merchandise helps not only us. We get a couple of dollars from what you buy, but it also will help clothe you. Don't you want to be clothed? Don't you want to wear clothing? We got some cool shirts and stuff on there. You don't have to buy the ones that say Inside the Booth. You can buy ones that have turtles on it or something, but buy from us. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm saying buy from us. You buy from us. It helps us out and it helps you out. We also have mugs and stuff, neck gaiters. Also, like Phil's saying, pretend the like and sub buttons are a mal and whack them. Phil, you're funny. You're just a funny guy. But don't forget, the best way to really support us here is to share our content. Pushes the algorithm. If you like the video, pushes the algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You subscribe, it makes the algorithm say, hey, people must like this stuff. Let's push it out a little bit more so that other people can watch and like and subscribe to this channel. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there who likes me and my brother and Lovett and Phil sometimes and, other people. There's got to be somebody who likes to watch it. This weird podcast thing. Yeah, so subscribe, like, ding the bell. Dinging the bell actually helps you guys out to know when I go live. So when we go live, you can be like, oh, they're live. Let me go watch them now. Now, it's not going to happen all the time, but, it'll happen a little bit here and there. And then another way to support the channel financially would be becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube member. So, yeah, that's all. We love you guys. Thanks for being here. Lovett, thanks for being here. Scattered Night, Phil, thanks for being here. Scarif, Scuttlebutt, thanks for being here. And the Woke Breaker, thanks for being here on the live. And for those of you who are watching after the live, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what I talked about. There's many, many more movies and many more props and things like that I would love to talk about and to talk to other people about. But that's all the time we have for tonight. So go ahead and, yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. Go ahead and do something. Go ahead and watch something after this. Thank you, Lovett. Love you too. Night chat. Good night, chat. Love you guys. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys that do show up. And don't forget, I'm on TikTok every once in a while. I think I'm going to go live once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on, my schedule. But I am going to start going live once a week over there on TikTok. It's a lot of fun. And over there, I dress up Captain Hook or Ghostbuster or just be me. Either way, come watch me on TikTok also. Have a good night, guys. Love y'all. And yeah, and that's it. Bye. See ya. Do boo doo boo do da papa do do chupow chica yatica boo boo do bow do dow boo do 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 do.